Hello and welcome to our third review here in our Edgewonk YouTube channel. And thank you again for all the submissions, for all your trading journals. And I look forward to reviewing them all over the coming weeks. And this week we have another very interesting journal that I want to review with you now. So first of all, we can see the trader has more than 200 trades, a win rate of 53%, which is a very good average. So especially for all the new and inexperienced traders who are always trying to go for a high win rate system and who are not very confident and not very satisfied with a low win rate or with the win rate around 50%, don't look any further. You don't need a high win rate if you know how to structure your trading system. You can see the trading performance here is very nicely over 200 trades here. The equity graph is going up, although there are some ups and downs, but we will get to that shortly. But firstly, I wanted to point that out because I think that is very important. Here we can also see at first glance the winning performance, or the performance for his winning trades is much higher than what he's losing on his losing trades. So this is going for him. He seems to be on point with his risk management. You can see there are really not that many big swings when we compare to the last trading journal. There are periods of drawdowns, but there are no big spikes in either direction, which shows that the trader is good with his risk management and adheres to risk management principles. Let's just go here to the journal, and what I found very interesting is here when we just look at his traffic lights. Remember, we have two traffic lights, the planned and the realized traffic lights. I can minimize that so we get them both on the screen. So here we have now the traffic lights when he enters the trade. How was the outlook when it comes to his risk-reward ratio and risk-reward perspective? And then here we have the realized scenario. How does this change? And you can see here when we have a green light here, it means that his reward-to-risk ratio when entering the trade was all right. And then here when we see that a green light is turning into a red light, it means that maybe he cut his winning trade a little bit too early and too soon, and then his reward to risk ratio has dropped significantly. This is something that I noticed for this trader here, that very often his reward to risk ratio starts out very nicely with a decent size, but then when he exits the trade, it seems to be the case that he is cutting his trades ahead of his take profit, and we will look into this further because this is a very common pattern I saw in this journal and something that really stood out. You can see this happens quite often. His tilt meter, although on the other hand, is very much on point. You can see the tilt meter is mostly green, which means that he is disciplined and he's following his rules. He has some periods where he has a bunch of red tilt meters, which means that he broke his rules and he did something not according to his trading plan. But mostly you can see that this trader is all right when it comes to his discipline and his approach. Then I want to jump to the equity graph. And here we can see that we had those dips, which I already mentioned in the home tab. So here from trade around 30, end of 30, until the trade around 70, he had a period of 40 trades where his equity graph was going down significantly. And you can see it happened again. So around trade 120 to 130 until the trade here 180, so 50 trades again. His equity graph was not going up, but at the same time, you can see there are not big swings. The trader did not lose his confidence or his emotions, so he never really got into a gambling mindset where he tried to swing it or he tried to turn it around no matter what. So he always, here was a little bit of period maybe where we had a little bit of a steeper drop, but overall that was quite all right considering the fact that he was in such a drawdown period. Maybe he was trying something new, testing some ideas, and overall he was able to turn it around here from trade 70 until trade 120. He had a good run. And here recently from trade 180 until trade 220, again 40 trades of a very good trading performance. Interestingly, as always, here we can see when the tilt meter is dropping off, you can see the tilt meter was rising here nicely, and then here we had a little dip. This also coincided with the significant and faster than usual drop. So the tilt meter shows that here when he loses a little bit his discipline and his work ethic or how he sticks to his trading plan, then things start to turn south. Here as well, we have a period where the tilt meter is more or less flat, and here as well a little dip, and you can see this coincides with this period. So always keep in mind that your tilt meter should be kept green. This is also why we put the tilt meter challenge at the very beginning of our trading course, but overall you can see his performance is very nicely. Then let's go to the trade management graph, and here are a few very interesting findings. First of all, when we just look at his overall performance, we can see that he's managing his trades very well. His performance without the management actually would have been a negative performance. So if he just let either his take profits, so if he just let his winners or losers do its thing, and he would not interfere with his trades after entering them, most of them would hit their most of them would hit the stop loss, and he would have a negative performance. So here is his actual performance, which means that he's doing very nicely and very well, and he has a positive performance, and most of this is due to his trade management. Then let me just try the filter for winning and losing trades. So now we are analyzing only his winning trades, and you can see here for his winning trades, he's doing really a great job with his trade management. His trade management is totally on point. He seems to be doing quite well. Now we look at his losers, and again his losing performance. Here without the trade management, it would have even been a little bit better. So maybe he should look into this, but overall I would not really much interfere with this because the difference is here very insignificant. Then one more thing here, when analyzing trading data, it is always good to look for confluence and to analyze things separately. That's why you can tag everything in Edgewonk so effectively. So let's take a look at his instruments one by one. He's only trading 3 instruments, and we can analyze them separately. So the first one here is crude oil. He has 60 trades in this, and you can see here the regular picture is the same. Although here his performance is more or less break even when it comes to our multiples. We can see here as well he has a lot of swings, although his performance is quite positive when we look at the performance. For his second market, he is doing quite well as well, so his performance is positive here. It is much better than trading without a trade management approach, so he's again managing his trades very nicely. And his third instrument, you can see it here, ES. Here he only has 11 trades logged, but you can see that his performance without trade management would have been a little bit better. So maybe he's something that he should look into, although again the difference is quite insignificant. So overall his trading journal looks quite alright so far. And let's take a look here at the trade analytics. So again, let's break it down here. We have the trade outcome on the left side. So we are analyzing winners and losing trades separately. Something that really stood out here again is that the difference between the average reward to risk ratio planned and his R multiple is quite significant. So when he's starting out, he has quite large take profit orders, and his outlook for his trades is is usually relatively large compared to when he closes his trades. Again, he only has a 0.74 R when he has a winning trade compared to 2.4 when he's starting out on the trade entry, and here as well, which on the losing trades, on the other hand, it is very good, and we have seen in the trade management that this is giving him a lot of his edge, where he's able to cut his trades halfway, so rarely do his trades really reach the stop loss order. So that is, on the one hand, for his losing trades, it is a good thing. On his winning trades, maybe he's missing out on a little bit of profits. But overall, this is probably a net game for him, and without knowing too much about his system, we can see that he's very good at managing his trades. Another thing that really stands out here is the drawdown, and this is probably the most important finding here. It is a very low drawdown, which means that the trades do not really move a lot against him. So we only have an average drawdown of 25% on his winning trades. And this means that he's probably setting his stop loss a little bit too conservative and too wide. It could also be because his take profit order seems to be also a little bit too far. So maybe he's overestimating the price swings, and he can maybe look into this And without knowing too much about his system, I would suggest that he is analyzing his past trades and he's really going over them to check if his stop loss is really too far and too conservative. And by just setting a stop loss a little bit closer, a trader can often potentially increase his profitability, because a smaller stop loss will also positively impact here the reward to risk ratio to planned and also the R multiple. Then I have a few other findings that I found here. So we can use the trade management layer here in the trade analytics and we break it down. You can see that he has 4 categories here for his trade management: the planned entry, unplanned, not set, and the planned. And you can see it seems to be obviously the planned here. Those are a positive comment, and those perform quite well. You can see we have a good expectancy, a higher win rate, and here overall unplanned and not set, they perform very poorly. So it seems to be, if he's not planning his trade, maybe those are emotional trades where he's a little bit more impulsive, that he is losing money on those, and this could make a big difference in his trading performance. You can see here unplanned we have a loss of 980 compared to an overall gain of 3,460. So this is quite a big of a portion of his gains and losses. So this is something that he really should look into. Then another thing here, we have trade window as one other custom statistic. And also here I found the very important finding here. When he classifies a trade as chop zone without knowing too much about it, we can see that here is quite a big performance lag. He's losing money on those trades overall, and this is costing him quite a bit of money. Same is here with this one. Although he only has 9 trades and there are a net loss here for first 15, I'm assuming those are the first 15 minutes of the trading day and the session. So he's losing quite a lot here on those types of trades, and trying to overcome this or looking into this market type, maybe avoiding the first 15 minutes, it could be an improvement in his overall expectancy and really make a difference for this trader. Then he has a very interesting custom statistics he calls demons, and this is also a very interesting finding here. So overall here, what is his biggest problem? When we just look at the sum of the losses, we can see here a counter trend move is not going very well for him. And here on the other hand, entering too soon is also so it seems to be that FOMO here, entering too soon, and here on the other hand, counter trend trading seem to be also very bad performers for him. So those are the biggest problems that I see when it comes to his demons here. And one more thing that I really want to address here, we have this custom statistic here, emotion as well. And what I have often found is that traders use this a little bit with the benefit of hindsight. So when I suggest to a trader how he enters his trade, that I prefer to tell the trader that he's being very objectively and he's not really considering the trade outcome, because what often happens is when a trader sees a winning trade and he thinks that, okay, this trader might have assigned a lot of confidence tags to his trades on his winning trades, whereas when he lost trades, then he more or less choose here one of those bad and negative tags. And this can often happen when a trader is putting too much hindsight bias on his trades. So always try to be objective when you're entering your trades. Maybe make a note during your trading day to understand how you are feeling in this very moment when you're pulling the trigger. And this makes then the journaling process a little bit more objective. So you can see in this review, we spend a lot of time here on the trade analytics, because overall the trader we have seen, he has a very good performance overall. His equity graph is going into the right direction. He does not have a lot of swings, a lot of big swings, except for here for the beginning where he had quite a few drops. So we focused more on drilling down on the specifics. His trade management, as we've seen, is mostly on point, but here we could have identified a few things for the trader where he is leaking a lot of money, and by finding those leaks and finding those consistencies or inconsistencies in this matter, then a trader can often improve his trading significantly. The simulator also looks quite alright. When we go up here for 20 simulations, you can see we do have some amount of volatility, but this is mostly due to the first drawdown period. So overall, he has a very nice performance, a few things that he can work on, and by utilizing the trade analytics and setting up very specific custom statistics that are very personal and individual to your trading approach, to your weaknesses, and where you see you have the most issues, you can really find those areas where you need to improve and where you need to work on your trading. I hope you found this review helpful. Again, if you want us to review your journal, click the link in the video description, send us your journal, and maybe in the next video we will take a look at your journal. Until then, happy journaling, stay safe, and see you in the next one.